fresh, creative, and experience, sophisticated yet casual, and perhaps a dash of spice. Now, this not only describes Taste Test on the 100 block of South Duke Street, but it also aptly describes our speaker today. Toni Calderone has cooking in her blood. If you know anything about her, she grew up in the restaurant industry. She is a cook. She is a restaurant. She is hospitality. As the owner of Tutoni's on North George Street, Toni has created a unique Italian experience in downtown New York, embodying the farm-to-table movement, taking pride in working with local farms and farmers. Now, Toni will be the first to tell you the restaurant business is not easy. In fact, restaurants are the #1 failed industry due to underdeveloped business acumen, lack of resources, or lack of capital. Which is why in 2016, Toni, along with Allison and 2 other partners, opened up Taste Test, a restaurant incubator, which is now located in Royal Square, right in the heart of downtown. At Taste Test, aspiring restaurateurs pitch their concept to a team of industry professionals, who then help develop the concept and offer advice through the process. They're mentored on every aspect of the industry: sourcing, costing, guest experience, menu development, and branding and marketing. You only have to spend a couple moments with Toni to understand that Iron Chef guy doesn't have much on her. So at this point, I'd like to have a nice Rotary welcome for Toni Calderone. And as she's approaching the stage, because we had a slight complaint last time I appeared here with another gentleman who was offering certain wares, that we didn't bring any samples. Yes. Well, we don't have samples here today, but at 5 o'clock, we will have our fellowship meeting at Taste Test from 5 to 7. We have drink specials, we have food, I think we have some entertainment as well. It's going to be a darn good time. So I think Rob, where's Rob at? Where's Rob? Are we still taking our SVPs, Rob? I said it looks like a thumb. So yes, if you haven't, sign up. We want to see you there. So without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, Toni.
It's the first time I ever got compared to Gordon Ramsay. I like to call myself the Simon Cowell of the panel. So Taste Test, that is what Taste Test is in a nutshell now that we finally developed it to be able to give it to you in a canned speech, because we really didn't know what it was when we were developing it. We knew we had a goal and a mission, and that was to help someone who had an idea make it come to fruition, because that's always the hardest part. For me, it was almost impossible. So a lot of you, I've had a conversation before I even opened Tutoni's that I was one day going to open a restaurant in downtown New York, and it took me about 8 years to get it off the ground. And like Glenn said, I was born and raised in this business, so Alberto's Pizza is my family. And when I came back to town, I got with Toni and we opened up Tutoni's, and it wasn't an easy feat. We heard 18 no's from banks because we're the #1 failed industry, and no bank wants to put their money on us, right? So you have to prove yourself. And then there's the whole opening up and hearing the public. It's not my ideas, it's what you guys want to eat, right? I can have the ideas, but if you don't like it, they gotta go. And then we get new menu items on and we develop, and we find the right team to execute this every minute of every day, whether we're in front of you at the table or in the kitchen preparing the food that our local farms have done so much hard work to cultivate. So the hospitality industry isn't just, you guys go out for dinner and you enjoy yourselves and you go home. For us, the hospitality industry is you've got to study what you're going through, you got to pick the direction you want to go in, you've got to pick your concept, you've got to execute it well, and you've got to take feedback like a champ. And you've got to take the negative, now Yelp, my mom loves Yelp. You've got to take the negative feedback from Yelp and a lot of positive feedback, and you've got to just become a member of your community. Now you guys all have conference tables. I'm fortunate enough that my conference table is my dinner table, and I have the privilege and the pleasure of getting to know you guys at my dinner table, which is awesome. So the hospitality industry is very much a networking tool if you use it right. So getting to know the public in which we serve is a big part of that. So when restaurants come in downtown, which downtown is already, we have a little renaissance going on down there, right? We've got a lot of different restaurants to choose from, and we want to keep that going. So Taste Test came to fruition because Tutoni's can't afford to have another open and closed restaurant downtown. because it makes it look like the city isn't doing well. That's not true, it's a misconception. So we started thinking in the office of how we could kind of help redevelopment by making a platform for these restaurateurs who have an idea, kind of learn the do's and don'ts of the industry before they actually put everything that they have up for an opportunity to either pass or fail. So we kind of structured a concept that gave them an opportunity to bring us their ideas, and we would help them cultivate their business plan, help them get to know the community in which they want to serve, and kind of give them not a safety net, but almost like a trampoline. So if you did well, you bounce into the community somewhere and open up your own brick and mortar. So it got going, and we got our concept going, and then we had the honor to compete for the Your It Challenge, which is a $20,000 grant given by the Community Foundation, which we were delighted that we won. So it was $20,000 as our startup money, which is huge in the restaurant business, right? Because we couldn't start otherwise. So Tutoni's financed the rest of it, and we opened up our first concept being Hamir's Indian restaurant through Central Market, because we already have a tool with an awesome community kitchen that we were able to use without all of that startup money of developing the actual brick and mortar. So we started for a year, we got it off the ground, we had about 12, 15 concepts go through, and then we were fortunate enough with our network landed in a brick and mortar location in Royal Square. So in Royal Square, we have the official Taste Test kitchen. So this is our actual pop-ups. Me and Allison won our $20,000. That was awesome. So this is our first start with Hamir, which I don't know, has anybody been to Hamir's downtown? Can I see hands? Very good. We actually have an Indian restaurant thanks to Taste Test downtown, which was something that we heard for years that we needed in the community. Hamir's awesome, by the way. These are my partners. So Jordan is, he's Roost Common Kitchen downtown. If anybody has not been yet, please go support your local restaurateur. He also has food trucks, so he comes with the quick service and food truck knowledge that we're able to mentor people with that concept. And then Robert is on the other end, and he has culinary degree. He's been all over. He worked Robberitos, helped them get up there several locations. He's worked at the Yorktown, and now he's most recently at Rockfish. You'll see him there. And Allison is our director of branding and marketing, and we give you your vision. You give us your vision. She helps you execute the logo and the look, because that's a lot of what your restaurant is. So we've had 22 concepts run through the space thus far, and we have 3 brick and mortars. So on the with the awning to the left, that's our pop-up kitchen. So from there, you'll have one concept every month that we look for feedback. You guys come and you taste, you try, and then you feedback on our survey. We provide that feedback to our restaurateurs. We help them to kind of fix the kinks. They have 1 month to really learn what it is to have a profit and loss, and what it is to kind of see where your demographic is. And it's really cool because when we develop the concept, you know, restaurants have a 6-month honeymoon period, right? You make all of your, hopefully, your impression in that 6 months, and then your repeat business from there. So this pop-up, because it's here today, gone tomorrow, packs everybody in. So we're constantly busy, and we have an influx of feedback that would otherwise in the restaurant industry take about 2 years to get that. And by that time, you're already dubbed if you're passing or failing. You're already trying to pay back those loans that have to go out every month, and your labor has to go out every month, but the influx of guests can hit or miss within a week. A week can swing your whole profit margin. So they learn all of that within that month, and hopefully they're taking heed to it. And then if they do, and they come back for a second or third attempt at what they're trying to figure out in that space, they then go over to which was the old Allison's side. I don't know if anybody remembers where that was. But we've cleaned it up. It's beautiful now. We have a garage door, and that's where they're able to come in for a longer stint. Right now we have Paco's Tacos, which was with us in 101, which is the cafe side. They tried 3 times. They got it right, so now they have a full-fledged restaurant in the 105 side. So he has a cantina attached in the backyard, which you guys will see tonight if you come out. And he's running a restaurant under our umbrella. So we're helping him and helping him cultivate his concept, and he has us to kind of fall back on as a partner until he gets funded and goes and finds his own brick and mortar. So now he has financials to give to a bank that he's been in existence longer than 5 minutes, which is incredibly helpful. So I'm going somewhere with that, because this is the right group to to tell you my next idea for the end game for Taste Test. So, a lot of community involvement. This room should get that really well, right? It takes a bunch of us to make something happen. In the hospitality industry, these people, 2 of which have brick and mortar, could not make it happen if it wasn't for people supporting it. We couldn't get financed if it wasn't for a bank. What's missing there? Everybody's starting to know what crowdfunding is, right? Thanks to Kickstarter and GoFundMe and all of these other things that you donate your money to. It's getting oversaturated, there's a lot of that going on. What's really cool is that this community started crowdfunding with the Yorktown Hotel, right? Everybody knows the story, how everybody put their money together and they funded the hotel. So, being my hometown, my roots go very deep here. I'm very proud of this community. I'm proud to be a part of it, honored to be amongst all of you today. Very humbling stage in my career, I appreciate it. But with restaurant and hospitality industry, there's a better way to change the game. And that includes crowdfunding with an equity stake. So not only are you coming in and showing your support with your dollars by feeding yourselves the food that they're cooking, but what if you helped feed their dream by investing in their ideas and their concepts? I'm not talking about vetted investors to where you have to show me all your financials and give me your whole spiel, because I know what that feels like and I don't like it. So, since 2012 there's been a Jobs Act law that's been put in place, and that allows for community equity crowdfunding. I've been researching and developing this project for about 4 years. My latest feat going over to San Francisco, where this is kind of like the wild, wild west of this kind of financing. And right here in York County, we're going to start the first platform for crowd-funded restaurants. So you will be able to own a piece of, i.e. Paco's Tacos, support them, tell your friends and family to go to your restaurant, get a return on your investment every year, and see restaurants pop up in your community. So not only is it an economic redevelopment tool, not only is it a community-driven tool, but it helps take out, sorry I'm going to say this, corporate America, with all of the concepts that are so oversaturated in every town that you see. It's the same thing. This allows for us to change a community, downtown redevelopment, with different concepts owned by the community, brought to by the community. And it all happened because I was told no from a bank. So that's Taste Test in a nutshell. It gets a lot broader and a lot deeper, and when we are ready to launch that platform, I'd like to extend the first town hall meeting to all of you to kind of pitch and flesh out any questions or any holes that you could blow through that before I take it to the next level. So thank you for allowing me to share that with you today, and I will open up the floor to any questions. Did I blow everybody's mind in here or what? Yes?
You answered this somewhat, but I'd like to hear a little more about the 1 month
Yes.
incubation period in the 101 property. What's that experience like, and how do you go about determining what happens after the first month?
Right, so he asked what happens in 101 for the full month, what happens behind the scenes, and how do we deter what happens after that? Is that where you're going at? So, from start to finish, we do a whole fleshing out process before they even are allowed to have the 101 space. So they pitch to us like we're Shark Tank, right? So us 4, and then they bring their food, they bring their business plan. And when they first apply, it's all via internet. So they go on our website, and there's a questionnaire. And we kind of see who has their stuff together and who doesn't. And from there, we give them a little coaching through email. And then should they pass that phase, then we have a meeting with them. And this is when they bring us their food and their recipes and their business plan and their numbers and their pro forma and what they need to do to generate the business that they need to in order to make their numbers. And then we blow holes through it. And we bring other people into the community to help us do that process. And then when they get to the space, they've made it through all those steps, they get the space for a full month, and we're booked out for the rest of the year now. So we're ahead of schedule. We try to always work about 2 quarters prior to them coming in. So when they get into that space, their logo's developed, the feel of what the restaurant is going to be is developed, where they're headed is already talked about. Do you want a brick and mortar? What is your end game? Do you want a truck? Do you want a quick service restaurant? Do you want a full service restaurant? So in helping them do that, through developing this, because we're only in year 2, right? So we're still developing it. We learned a lot of what not to do, what's more expensive than others, and we're funding it, right? So it's their ideas, but we have to kind of support it. So through that, they're learning what they want and what they don't want, and it's incredible how it works out because a lot of them don't want to come back and do it. They realize they're 12-hour days, and after that, it's grueling. Not only do you have to worry about your income, you have to worry about what your guests think, if your lights are on, if the plumbing's fixed, if the hood needs cleaned, if the grease trap needs cleaned. So a lot of people who come in don't have a full grasp of what the hospitality business is. They think, oh, I can make a good taco, let me open a restaurant. Well, you gotta be there. You can't go to your son's football game. You can't go to your tryouts. You gotta miss all of that because you have to be behind the stove or in the kitchen prepping your food. That's the life I lived, that's the life it is, and I'm not gonna change it, nobody else is. It's just, that's the hospitality industry. So that eye-opener is what they get out of 101. And then if they really are committed, like Paco's Tacos, whatever it takes, they bring their 3-year-old in, and he's there while she's prepping. And they do whatever it takes to open up a restaurant. And the community feels that. You want to support someone who's given it their all. You want to support someone who really cares about what your taste buds want to eat. And they become the successful ones. So out of the 22 concepts, Hamir's blew us away. I mean, he's just all about it, the passion, the pride, that he listens to everything, and every person he meets. So he started at the market, and then he went to 101, and then he had 105 for 4 months, and now he's in his brick and mortar. So it went exactly how it was supposed to go. And from that, we actually have left this part out. Food Network wanted to pick us up and put a whole reality series on what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing yet to pitch that, so we didn't follow through on it yet, but we do have a contract with them in case we want to get that up and running. So it's pretty neat. It's very different than the other pop-up restaurants that are popping up around the country. They pretty much just give them a vanilla box, they rent it out, and they do what they want. The mentorship program of it, and then the end space being your brick and mortar, is very unique to the concept. Are we nonprofit? Are we for profit? We're still figuring all that out. Are we a school? Can we be a culinary program? A lot of it's coming in. The YES program, I don't know if everybody's heard about Doug Knight's program with working with transitional people, getting them life and knife skills. We're partnering with them. So now we'll be able to work with people coming out of the system that don't have a skill set to offer any other industry. That hospitality is nothing but that. So we're giving them the knife skills and the life skills that they need, and then we're now staffed. So there are a lot of different moving parts of this that we're bringing the community together to kind of really make a really cool thing happen. And it's working. Royal Square has helped us with getting the space. So in talking, we have developers we could talk to and say, hey, what do you look for when you want this person in that space? What's the demographics? We can have those conversations because of the community that we live in, which is very unique in York. So when we talk to people outside of York, they're like, that's really unique. And it all happened because of the network. Yes?
Please share details on your equity share concept.
Yes. So this whole industry is wild, wild west right now. The SEC can't even regulate it because they don't know what it is. So there's a bunch of people doing it in the real estate world right now, and there's a bunch of people doing it in the technology world. There's gamers are investing in certain games to come out, and it's happening in the film world. So people can't get the financials to put their movie together. They're getting backing from an equity standpoint. So it's called RegA, and there's a lot of research you can do under that. But it allows you to have a portal on a public forum, because usually you have to do it in a room like this, right? And say, hey, whoever wants to invest in me, meet me after, and we'll sign up. But now it's that you can actually give your credit card information via website. It's all taken care of through the SEC, but it's not regulated by them yet, which is crazy. So I can guarantee you in 5 years, everything's going to go to this. And IPOs are going to be obsolete. Because a community that comes together is much stronger than one person. And I plan on doing a lot with that. This has been in my family, conversation in my family for about 15 years now. So this isn't something that I just came up with. This is something that, it's kind of like, why haven't we done that yet? In a bigger way. And the internet really allows for that. So I'm going to take it with the restaurant industry, because nobody's touching the restaurant industry yet, and I'm going to try to make a splash with it. Starting in York, and then take it to the next town. Yes?
2 questions.
Yes.
What's happening with the North Beaver Street location? And 2, could you clarify when they're in the 101 space, does the revenue just, is that split between you and them, or is that just all come to you, and that's what they get for the backing?
Good question. So he asked two questions. One is 33 North Beaver Street. Toni and myself own it. It's been dormant for a long time, and we advertised that Taste Test was going to end up there, and it shifted. So Toni and I have actually been developing. We have urban. You're making me tell everybody my secrets. Urban Herd is in the market, and we sell pasta, our fresh pasta, cheese, and charcuterie. We've outgrown that because we can't keep up with the pasta production and then just only work Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So we're developing an Italian market that's similar to Italy up in New York City that we will have open there by the end of this year. Yep, so that'll be cool. We'll have gelato, we'll have paninis, we'll have ready-to-made pasta, we'll have Napoleon-style pizza, and Lavazza espresso bar. So that's coming. So that's that one. And then the harder one is, where does the money go? So if there is any money left, which is the hospitality industry, if there is any money left, we do a split. We do give them incentives, and they're welcome to bring in friends and family to help them execute, to kind of keep their labor down so they get that bonus at the end. But in the hospitality industry, if you profit between 8 to 12% at the end of a year, you're lucky. And if you're doing anything better than that, wow. And what we teach them is that, you know, even though it looks like you had a really outstanding week and we were so busy, the next week you're going to need that for anything else. So in a month, it's unique that it's not enough time to give them a real life scenario, which is what we're finding in the challenge. Because they're seeing their numbers and they're like, that's all our money. No, it's not, because you have tax, you have payroll. So all of those things are what we're hitting them hard with. That's why I'm the Simon Cowell. Like, no, that's not your money. And at the end, if there is any left, they're taking it and they're reinvesting in their brand. But it shows, it's like their report card. But all we do is philanthropy at its best. We all four of us volunteer. As long as our bills are paid, as long as we make enough to pay the bills and pay the taxes, they can take the rest. That's the honest to God truth, yes.
Yes, the seating capacity at the 101, is it one seating or is it multiple seating? What's your turnover? And is there lunch and dinner, or I just don't quite get the concept?
Yep, so it depends on each concept. Like right now we have Post Kitchen, and he has decided to do his hours Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They have 30 days, right? So they have 30 days to make this their concept. The restaurateur usually has a full-time job, so they have to make it work within those hours. So we make them open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It has to be open to the public at that time. And if they can bring on more, they open for lunch and dinner. They do what they feel is deemed necessary, and then we do a great job at promoting that on our social media and emails. We give direct emails as a newsletter to inform you of what's coming in next, when their hours are, and what their menu looks like. So it does vary from person to person, because if we told them all to stick to these hours, which we found by doing it, they can't commit because they have to have their income with their jobs.
And the multiple seatings?
Yep, so there's multiple seatings. We have 30 seats in the 101 side. And depending on, like we had James Beard come to York, Pennsylvania. Can you believe that? And she now has an incubator space of her own in, where's she at, Elizabethtown? Yeah, so so one of our testers came through and she did seating. So she did chef's tables. She did seating at 5:30 and she did seating at 7:30. So you would do one in turn. But all of the other ones have been running just like a restaurant. If there's open availability, there's open availability. Yep, yes.
So the restaurants that are selected, is there an ongoing commitment if they do launch, or is there any financial investment? What's their skin?
They don't have any skin in the game right now, which is all the reason why people are signing up. And what we're finding is that they're not understanding that they don't have that gut-wrenching feeling that they don't have enough to cover their expenses at the end of the month, because they know we're going to back them up on it, which is why we have our liquor license. Our liquor license covers all of that. But moving forward, if they go into the brick and mortar concept, there is conversation at the very start of their development that if we were to help them to continue to pursue their aspirations, and they did go through that kind of financing, they would be giving up a portion of their company to be able to get that kind of financing. So there's a give and take there, and that's all stated in all the contracts that we have going on. Anyone else? Yes.
Is the pool of possible restaurateurs, is it continuing to, is it there, is it growing, are you seeing it?
Good question. She asked if there's a good pool of restaurateurs and if it's there or if it's growing. So, no, there aren't. There are a lot of good concepts, but not a lot of people who have the the know-how to be able to go that far that fast. It's a very slow process to get them to start. We get a lot of really cool, unique concepts, but they won't work. We get a lot of people trying really hard, and we get a lot of people being too simple. So to find, it's the #1 failed industry for a reason, right? Everybody, I'm sorry to make an example of this, we had an Alice in Wonderland concept where she wanted everything named after all of the Alice in Wonderland characters. And I mean, a lot of them go there, and then there's a few. Out of 22, we had 5 that I'd say were really out of the park hitters. So that's why I want it to be not an ongoing longevity thing. This comes to your area as like a come with your concepts, come to our open casting calls. If you make it great, you have a stint at this time of the year to prove yourself to the public, and at the end of the year, we're going to vote on it, and that person stays in that spot. And then it moves on. And that's because, you know, how many people have an idea in York? And how many times do you guys want to come in and keep trying and failing and trying and failing and trying? It gets grueling. So we've learned that in the last 2 years that we've been developing it. So we've kind of had categories that we're doing our own market research on. And that's a good question because it's an honest answer. No. And God rest his soul, Mr. Appel said to me in the office, "You are too young and too broke to be a philanthropist, Toni." The rest of his life. Yeah, he loved it, but he was just like, no. Get ballet instead, which I did do, and it didn't work. So, any other questions? Nothing? No? All right, I guess that's it. Thank you.